Noah begins after we read last week's harsh words. The Lord repented that he had made man on the earth. We witness a cruel and ruthless world. People of the flood generation were ruled by their desires alone. And as a result, the earth was filled with violence. Then came the flood and wiped out the world. In the days of Noah, every person or every small group cared only for themselves and their own needs on the account of others. Humans turned into bands of animals that fight for food, shelter, and hunting grounds. They killed and raped to satisfy themselves. The world turned into an endless war zone where everyone is an enemy, and people lived in constant fear of death, rape, or other violent outcome, with no rules or limitation. Violence and wickedness filled the earth. This Torah portion tells us about Noah, his sons and grandsons. It tells us about the new world that Noah and his family built. But once again, it ended sadly. The story of the Babylonian Tower. When God scattered man all over the earth, we learn that even in the world that is not completely lawless and has rules that prevent violence from happening, as long as man sees himself as the Lord of the land, does not accept the divine authority, as long as man sees himself as God in charge of his own destiny, such a world cannot exist. At the end of the Bereshit portion, we read about Noah's birth. His father, Lamech, called his son Noach, meaning comfort, as a sign of hope, or as a prophecy that he will comfort us in the labor and painful toil of our hands. This shows an understanding that our world is broken, and we, as humans, are able to fix and to improve it. I believe that our job is to improve the existing situation, to see what we can do in order to make things better. Even more so, we need to search for things we can improve, to search for what or where we can fix, repair, and make better. We have to rise up and act in every area of our lives. It is clear that the first place where we can act is our family. From there, we can proceed to our surroundings, to our neighborhood, workplace, and society. God called Noah, God found him suitable for the task ahead, because Noah was a man of action. It is also written that Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. The Torah describes Noah as righteous man, but in my opinion, he was also called because of his abilities. Noah worked on the land. He was capable to take care of God's creation, to replant and to repair what the flood had destroyed. He was both willing and able to act, to build the ark, to provide all the needs of his zoo in the ark, and more or less to restore and to recreate the entire world. God made us in his image with the ability to build and to create. As believers, we are called to be workers in the kingdom of heaven. In the New Testament, Yeshua teaches us that the work is overwhelming, but the workers are few. Yeshua is calling us to invest and to build the kingdom. That is why there are so many messianic charities that help those in need. We help the poor around us. We donate to hospitals, to children at risk, to troubled families, help with new immigrants, and more. We do not do this so we can convert those in need into our religion. We are doing it because Yeshua commanded us to help wherever we can. There's so much to do, and the work is not easy. It wears us down, but we are called to be like Noah, to invest in the future. We are called to build an ark of salvation for everyone who is willing to hear about the coming flood. Noah's ark was much bigger than his family needed. We are called to provide and to take care of those in the ark. Let's think about Noah. Do you think it was easy for him and his family? They invested everything they had into the ark. And then they spent over a year locked in a stuffy, crowded place filled with noise and smell of animals, like the zoo, only it was small, crowded, closed zoo floating on the water. If we think that serving God is easy or pleasant, think again. More than anything, it depends on our willingness to serve and on the focus of our hearts. Serving God can be easy and it can be difficult, depending on our attitude. And sometimes it can be difficult regardless of our attitude. Look at the prophets. Most of them did not have it easy. Why did God save Noah? God told Noah, because I have found you righteous in this generation. We learn that God tests his creation. He hurts when we sin, especially when we hurt one another. God also tests our heart to see if we are faithful and if we follow him. The New Testament speaks of Noah as a man of great faith. He believed God that the flood is about to come, and he was ready for it. By faith, Noah, when warned about things not yet seen, in holy fear built an ark to save his family. By this faith he condemned the world and became heir to the righteousness that is in keeping with faith. What does the author of Hebrews mean by things not yet seen? According to the traditional Jewish viewpoint, there was no rain before the flood, but rather dew watered the plants on the earth, as mentioned in Genesis chapter 2. It means that Noah believed God, that water will fall from the sky, even though he never saw rain before. Noah proved his faith by investing everything into the construction of the gigantic ark. According to tradition, Noah remained faithful to God's command, even when his neighbors mocked him and despised him. Our portion begins and ends with two important events: the flood and the Tower of Babylon, the destruction of the world and the scattering of mankind throughout the earth. This week's Haftarah is taken from Isaiah 54, which is written as a poem, and it describes Israel in a metaphoric way. The prophet compares Israel to a barren widow and gives her a promise of hope and redemption from disgrace. The Bible is full of stories about barren women who gave birth, women like Hannah, the mother of Samuel, and Rachel, the mother of Joseph and Benjamin. Tradition also speaks about Leah as being barren until God opened her womb. Even Sarah was barren. Barrenness is a period of preparation. It teaches us the value of the child. Children born of these women are the heroes of our people, fathers of our nation. And the most important child, also born under special circumstances, is Yeshua the Messiah. In verse 2, the prophet Isaiah tells Jerusalem to enlarge its place and prepare for all her sons who will arrive. The Jerusalem of today is the largest and the most advanced in history. And who are those sons that will come to inherit the land? The children of Israel are the sons of promise. However, Paul is linking Isaiah's promise to all the believers. In the letter of Galatians, he quotes Isaiah and says that all who believe in Yeshua become children of the promise to God. And since all believers in Yeshua join the family of Israel, they are obligated to turn their lives towards Jerusalem, towards Israel. Undoubtedly, the nation of Israel is God's firstborn. In Romans, Paul compares the nations of the world to the young branches that were grafted into the root of an olive tree. This tree is the nation of Israel. In the end of the Haftarah, we have a clear connection to the story of Noah. God's promise to bless Israel and not to hide his face from us is as strong and as stable as his promise not to destroy mankind by flood. For this is like the waters of Noah to me. For as I have sworn that the waters of Noah would no longer cover the earth, so I have sworn that I will not be angry with you, nor rebuke you. The Lord's mercy for the children of Israel and for those who were added to his nation will stand forever. This portion also teaches us the principle of measure for measure. From the very first stories of the Torah till the last teachings of Yeshua, they all stand upon a simple principle: measure for measure. When the flood destroyed the earth, it was as a punishment of equal measure to the corruption of the world. God saw how corrupt the earth had become. So God corrupted the earth with a flood. In Hebrew, it's a play on words. And right after the flood, a clear rule was set. Whoever sheds human blood, by humans shall their blood be shed. The most obvious example of the measure for measure principle in the Torah are the verses from Exodus. A life for a life, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, hand for a hand, foot for a foot, a burn for a burn, and a wound for a wound. Yeshua also teaches us the measure for measure principle. Therefore, whatever you want men to do to you, do also to them. For this is the law and the prophets. And Yeshua continues, judge not, and you shall not be judged. Condemn not, and you shall not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and it will be given to you. For with the same measure that you use, it will be measured back to you. In the verse, you shall love your neighbor as yourself, lies the foundation of all of Yeshua's teachings. The exact opposite of the flood generation. The generation that drowned in its own lust and desire. The generation that only thought of itself. Yeshua demands from us, what you wish for yourselves, do it for others. Shabbat Shalom.